Welcome, everybody, to Giving Them the Business. I'm Brad Boyd. We'll be here each week talking about sports, talking about the games, talking about the lines, winners, losers. We got it all. But I can't go any further without introducing my good friend, Ben Taylor.
What's going on, y'all? I can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of this. This is the first episode of many. If you like this video, if you like the content that we're putting out, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and if there's a game that you want us to talk about, put it in the comments section. Without further ado, let's get into episode 1.
Hey, we can't go any further without going backwards and recapping what the hell happened last week. First off, Titans dominated the Chiefs. Dominated. Straight domination.
A little bit of a shocker here, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes, dude, he's got 9 interceptions. He had 6 last year.
Like, I don't think that you could have expected Mahomes to kind of stay on that MVP on that MVP role that he's been on the last couple of seasons. But this is the first game with Mahomes under center that the Chiefs did not score a touchdown. The Titans set the tone early, scored on their first 5 drives, and just cruised from there.
Yeah, I mean, they scored on their first 5 drives. Well, the Chiefs went punt, interception, fumble, and it was 27-0. I mean, that's blink of an eye.
Game was over there at halftime.
Game over, flip. Next one up, Bengals-Ravens. Man, I don't know if a lot of people saw this coming. I mean, a few people saw this coming, but 41-17 Bengals in a rout.
Like, the Cincinnati defense was the star of the show. 5 sacks on Lamar Jackson. He completed less than 50% of his throws. Look, in the NFL, the margin between teams is so little. You're going to run into games where people kind of have your number on any given Sunday.
Yep.
And I think this is where Baltimore's lack of depth at running back really started to show. Obviously, we know the injuries to Dobbins and Edwards in the preseason. They had Latavius Murray out this week. Devonta Freeman, Williams, Le'Veon just ineffective.
Yeah.
When you're kind of a one-trick pony in the form of Lamar Jackson, you're going to have weeks like this. Look, the Ravens are still good, okay? But some weeks, they're just going to have your number. Cincy's legit.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. I mean, that duo right there. I mean, Joe Burrow had 416 yards passing against the Ravens. Jamar Chase, 201 yards receiving.
Hell of a game.
I mean, that's a game, man. And but look, next up, I mean, the Bengals are 5-2 right now. Next up, they got Jets, Cleveland Browns, bye week, Raiders, Steelers. I mean, we could be talking about the Bengals going on a run here.
Is this a changing of the guards in the AFC North?
It may be, but I mean, time will tell in the season. We're still young in the season, but I mean, hey, going forward, and that's a pretty good schedule to have if you're the Bengals after a dominating win against the Ravens.
100%. Impressive. And good to see. Good to see Joe Burrow come back after a devastating injury last season.
Yeah. Next up, we got Rams, Lions. I think everybody expected, and me as well, the Rams just to dominate this game. But, I mean, the Lions, they did everything they could, man. They shook things up. I mean, huge touchdown on the first drive. Onside kick, get it. Fake punt. I mean, anything and everything they could do, they did. But they could only muster like 10 points. And then the Rams became the Rams.
Both quarterbacks talked about, obviously, how emotional this game was. Obviously, a lot of hype surrounding it with the move between teams for both quarterbacks. Look, the Lions hung in there, okay? But at the end of the day, the Lions are who we thought they were. The better team showed up in the fourth quarter. Look, 15 points is a tough cover in the NFL. I don't care who you are. The Rams took care of business.
There's not a whole lot of times that I'm going to take 15 points, 15 and a half in this instance, but I took it because of that factor. But you're right. I mean, 15 points is a tough ask in any NFL game. All right. We got to talk about this one. I was at this game. Me and you have talked about this game plenty last week. You're an NC State guy. I'm 100%. Obviously a Miami guy. I told you the only thing I'm taking in this game is NC State -1.5 at the first half. That covered, so we're good there. And I couldn't take anything further because I wanted to root for the Canes. And the Canes coaching staff tried like hell to give this game away, and I think the players just wouldn't allow it.
Well, you're talking a road game. A road game in the ACC is never an easy game. There are no gimmies on the road in the ACC. The key to this game, you and I had talked about, were the Miami turnovers going into this game. Miami was -5 in turnover margin. Okay, now they didn't create any turnovers, but they kept held of the ball. 0 turnovers for the Hurricanes. That to me was the difference in this ball game. The Wolfpack, however, still control their own destiny in the ACC Atlantic.
That's very true. Speaking of ACC, this was a tricky game last week. Wake and Army. I mean, Wake wins 70-56. I mean, the over/under was 53. Army covered that themselves in the loss. This was a wild game, man. There was one punt in this game, by the way. Army punted once.
Defense just stayed on the bus. Apparently, look, we knew that Wake Forest could put up points. What I was surprised with is the absolute lack of defense.
I couldn't
rush
believe it
defense. But look, give Wake all the credit, okay? They're 7-0 for the first time since 1944.
Good Lord.
A gentleman by the name of P-Head Walker.
P-Head. Nice name, buddy.
Was the head coach for the Demon Deacons at the time. Big game coming up for them down the road, November 13th. They host NC State. That could be for the Atlantic if both hold serve.
Yeah. I mean, the service academies is always a tricky game because of the offense that they play for any Power 5 or any other school that doesn't play the wing T like a small high school team does. But, hey, they scored enough points to win, and that's what Wake did.
It made it a heck of a ball game. It really was fun to watch.
The next game on the list, we got Iowa State beat Oklahoma State 24-21, and Oklahoma State had a chance at the end, man. They were on the Iowa State 42 with like a minute and a half to go. With the ball, got stopped on 4th down, sealed the game. We had talked about it last week, between us, that this was a weird line. Iowa State was favored by a touchdown, -7.
That's right, and Oklahoma State was top team,
undefeated. number 8 in the country. Right. I mean, it was a pretty wild line to see. It covered, by the way.
They absolutely did. And look, Oklahoma State, they had been great in one possession games going into this, and they damn near pulled another one off.
Yeah.
This game kept Iowa State in hopes of a Big 12 title. Huge win for them, but Oklahoma State covers on the road. I think from a betting perspective, that was the bigger part of this game.
And not totally out of it either. I mean, they still got to play Oklahoma.
No, not at all.
I mean, they're not totally out of this thing. So
no, if Iowa State loses, their Big 12 hopes are done. Oklahoma State still obviously with a big fighting chance.
They get Kansas at home, at West Virginia, TCU at home, at Texas Tech, and then the big one versus Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
To decide Big 12 there.
Rivalry week.
Oh man, you said it, not me. But yeah, I mean they're not out of it, so we'll see how they go. Getting Kansas coming off this beat is not bad. What a wild game this one was. Illinois, Penn State, 20-18 and 9 overtimes. Now, it does say 9 overtimes. That did happen, by the way.
Yeah,
but
should be with an asterisk almost.
Yeah, new rules. After the second overtime, you have to go for it's going for 2, but it's just an untimed down. Each team gets an untimed down from the 2-yard line, like a 2-point conversion. But none of them got that until the 9th overtime, which is crazy. This is crazy.
It is. Don't get me wrong. I understand player safety, reducing the number of plays run. I get it. This is kind of the first time that this rule kind of rears its head.
Yeah, I guess for sure. Because I mean, A&M, Texas A&M, and LSU went to like 7 overtimes a few years ago, and it was like 77-76. I mean that's the scores you get when it goes deep into these overtimes. This is 9 overtimes, 20-18.
Does Penn State win this game under the old overtime rule?
Yeah,
I think they do.
I don't know because neither team could score in overtime from the 2-yard line. So I don't know.
Look, regardless, this is this is a bad loss for Penn State. Illinois turned the ball over 3 times, and still found a way to beat the Nittany Lions. I don't understand it. The only thing you can look to is Illinois controlled the clock. 36 minutes of possession to 23 for the Nittany Lions. It never gave Penn State the opportunity to really get into their offense. That's the only thing I can look to. Essentially eliminates Penn State from Big Ten contention.
Yeah, I have to agree. All right, let's get into this week's games. Right off the bat. Michigan State. I mean, first off, I can't believe this is a noon game. It's 2 top 10 teams. We're playing at 12 noon Eastern time. I can't get over
that. Regardless of the game time, I'm with you there. This game will control the noon viewership, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Both teams come in with unblemished records. What stands out for me is Michigan's offense here and how they produce points. They can put up points, but 57% of their offense is through rushing. 83% of their touchdowns are on the ground. They have 2 running backs, Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins. Both have 10 touchdowns on the year and have a shot to be dual 1,000-yard rushers.
Wow. Speaking of 1,000-yard rushers, I mean, Michigan State's got number 9, Walker. I watched him play against the Canes. We couldn't stop him. He was a one-man show. I mean, he had 172 yards against the Canes. That guy has 997 on the year through 7 games. So I mean, he's a stud in my book. It goes through him, and it's just a matter of can Michigan State get stops on defense. They give up a lot of points on defense, but can we get some timely stops? I say we. I'm not even a Michigan State fan, but
we know where your wallet's at.
Oh yeah, well now I'm going Michigan State. Give me plus the points. I mean, this is a rivalry game. Michigan State. I feel like it's gonna be a close game. 3 points either way. Give me plus the 4. I'll take it. Hey, first time these two teams have played each other when they're both in the top 10 since 1964.
I think this is going to be a game well worth the billing. I think this comes down to the Michigan O-line, Michigan State D-line. Like you said, can Michigan State get stops? I like Michigan to win here. That 4 points is big, I think, in this game. Let's take Michigan money line here.
I got you. That's probably a smart move with the points if you like Michigan here. But, if we're taking points, I'll take all 4 of those, by the way. Next game on the list, we got Penn State at Ohio State. Ohio State minus 18.5. Penn State coming off a 9 overtime loss. That's probably fitting.
This is going to be a showcase for the Ohio State offense. C.J. Stroud, in his last 3 games, has really bolstered his Heisman credentials. 14 touchdowns, no picks, completing at a 74% clip. He has a ton of weapons on his side. Penn State is just on a downward trend here. I think the Buckeyes just roll, and it's just a matter of how many. I think the 18.5 is easy.
I'm on the same page with you. I think Penn State's played better, played against better teams like Iowa, but they don't score points like Ohio State does. I mean, Ohio State scoring 50 plus, 60 plus. I don't know if Penn State could score enough points to even beat Ohio State. If we just had we just played 7-on-7. I don't think they could score enough. So I think Ohio State scores a lot of points, and it's a rout. And the quarterback play for Penn State's been suspect at best. Yeah, I like Ohio State here in the rout. All right, let's get into this one. I had to add this one. I added this one for a stat for you. Florida, Georgia.
The world's largest cocktail party.
Outdoor cocktail party, mind you.
Being played in Jacksonville.
Always.
I saw today this matchup in Jacksonville just been renewed for another 4 seasons. So for you Bulldogs and Gators fans, you'll be seeing each other in Jacksonville at least through 2025.
All right, real quick about the game. Look, Georgia's really good. Georgia's defense is really good. I look at Florida a lot on the same level as Kentucky, skill-wise by the team. I mean, Georgia just handled Kentucky last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm taking Georgia minus the points. But here's the stat I wanted to tell you.
I got to hear this.
Since 1957, this is going way back. Since 1957, every time your Braves have made the World Series, Florida has beat Georgia.
I don't even have a response to that other than
let's go.
Other than that streak gets broken this year.
Yeah, for sure. I think for sure. But I mean, 1957, 58, 91, 92, 95, 96, 99, and I have a question mark by 21.
There's your stat of the day.
Amazing. I mean, going back to 1957, every time the Braves in the World Series, Florida beat Georgia.
Great stat.
Awesome.
Great stat.
I heard that the other day. I couldn't believe it. Anyways, next up for Georgia, going forward after we think they just blow through Florida, they got Missouri, Tennessee, Charleston Southern, Georgia Tech, and the SEC title. I mean, they get through Florida. I think it's full steam ahead SEC title game.
Yep.
All right, next up we got another good one here. Number 10, Ole Miss. Number 18, Auburn. Auburn minus 2 here.
Best SEC game of the week, bar none. Both teams still in contention in the SEC West. It's tough to differentiate between these two teams. Statistically, and just the eye test. Very good teams. I think they match up well against each other. The one stat that I think stands out is our turnovers. Ole Miss has created 12 turnovers this season. They're +7 in the turnover margin. Auburn created just 6 turnovers. They're +1. Auburn's has got to create some turnovers.
Otherwise, I mean, Ole Miss is going to go up and down the field. I mean,
to win this ball game, Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin win close ball games. We've seen it a couple of times this year. Tennessee. Give me Ole Miss and give me the points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. I think Auburn, I mean, they lost to Georgia and Penn State. Ole Miss's only loss is to Bama. That's a good loss if you're thinking about things. I mean, it's a tough game. I mean, SEC West game on the road for Ole Miss. Yeah, I'll take Ole Miss plus the points. I mean, they've been a juggernaut all year with Corral at quarterback. Tennessee game, that kind of went a little different way. We thought the over 85.5 was going to hit, but yeah, they got slowed down there for a little bit, but I think they rebound and come up with a big win against Auburn. Next up, Kentucky. -1.5 on the road at Mississippi State, another good SEC game.
I think this is that game. This is that SEC game for Kentucky that you think they should win if they're a good team, but I think they get beat. Will Rogers for Mississippi State leads the SEC in passing. Kentucky can move the ball, but they kind of dink and duck. Kind of move the ball up the field. They don't turn the ball over too much, but I think the last team to have the ball in this game wins it. I think Rodgers and company have the ball when it counts. Score 7 to win the game. Give me Mississippi State.
I got you. I mean, hey, coming off the Georgia game with Kentucky, I mean, they played well against Georgia. I mean, granted, they got beat by a couple of touchdowns, but they played well. I mean, not a lot of people have played well against Georgia. I thought they played well. They hung in there. I mean, that's a tough team to play. Hey, I know this is SEC East, which doesn't get a whole lot of credit playing against the West, but I'm going to take Kentucky here, man. I think they're a good ball club, man. And -1.5, I'll take Kentucky. It'll be close, but I'll take them. All right, next up, Texas Tech, Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a little scare against Kansas last week. They may have lost that game if a couple plays didn't go their way. I look at this as a bounce back game. I look for a rout -19.5.
I see it the exact opposite way.
Of course you do.
Oklahoma 3-5 against the spread this year. They've covered once when favored 13 or more. That was against Western Carolina. Texas Tech fired their head coach this week. Their OC, the new interim head coach, that can do one of two things. Either that can hasten the collapse or that can ignite a football team.
That's very true.
I think it does the latter. Look, they jumped out quick. Texas Tech did it against K-State last week. Ended up coughing that one up. I think Texas Tech does enough to cover here against an Oklahoma team that's a very good football team. Don't get me wrong, but they don't have a propensity for winning, for blowing teams out. 19.5 is a big line. Look, I'm gonna take a shot. Give me Texas Tech plus the points.
Hey, take a stand with a lot of points. I don't blame you there. Oklahoma, they should have beat Kansas last week by 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Absolutely, but they didn't.
They did not. I'm well aware. I think this is a bounce back game. Hey, like you're gonna get when you're at the top, you're gonna get everybody's best playing against you.
100%.
And I think they learned that last week with Kansas. I think there's no BS going into this game. I think they roll here. Another good one here, SMU at Houston. I mean, this is going to decide, if SMU wins, they're going to play Cincy, and that'll decide a lot of things. But Houston doesn't play Cincy this year.
Which is unfortunate,
right?
In an AC with 3 really good football teams.
Yeah, so I like SMU here. Mordecai, the quarterback, OU transfer. So
Dude can sling it. Dude can sling the rock.
Absolutely. The SMU offense here, I know Houston's been good this year. I'm just taking SMU.
I hear you, but I also understand why Houston may be favored. I've seen some books have it a pick 'em. I understand it. Houston is the 4th ranked defense in the country, giving up less than 280 yards total offense per game.
Well, SMU puts up way more than that, so
525 a game. This is offense versus defense, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. I like the close line, but give me the Mustangs.
I hear you. I'm an offensive guy, and I've always liked SMU because they slang it. As a former wide receiver, that's what I like. All right, so that's the college games that we've gone through. Let's look at our plays, recap of our tickets, who we like, money line, against the spread. I like Michigan State plus the 4, Ohio State minus 18.5, Georgia minus 14, Ole Miss plus the 2.5, Kentucky minus 1.5, Oklahoma, all those points minus 19.5, and screw that line. Just give me SMU money line.
There's not much surprising on my side. Look, I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to take a shot against. I'm going to take a shot with Texas Tech. Everything else. Look, I'll take Mississippi State at home. A couple of these I wouldn't tell you to take it to the bank. I do love Michigan on the road here. Maybe not by 4.
I see that little ML next to it, so I see what you're getting at here. But those are our plays for the college games. All right, let's get into some NFL action. First up, Washington at Denver. Denver minus 3.5. I feel like you know where I stand on this game.
Your football team.
Hey, you can call them the Redskins. That's fine.
Look, either way, to me, this game comes down to the return of Jerry Jeudy to the Broncos offense. Last week the Broncos put on a terrible performance against the Browns' second-team offense. The Browns decimated by injury last week.
Yeah,
and
they didn't have anybody playing.
This should have been a must-win, or this should have been a win for the Broncos, and we're unable to do so. Let's see if Judy's return is able to open up the Broncos' pass offense a little bit. I think it does, and I'm taking the Broncos minus the points here.
3.5, man. I think Denver was the biggest 3-0 fraud of a team of all time. I mean, they were 3-0. They beat the Giants, Jags, and Jets with losses to the Ravens, Steelers, Raiders, Browns with no Baker. Look, hear me out on this. Washington's losses: Chargers, Bills, Saints, Chiefs, Packers. A lot of playoff teams in that discussion.
100%.
Look, I think the Skins get back on track here. I think they win outright at Denver. So I'll take Washington. I'll take them in the money line. I'll take them plus the points. I like Washington in this spot. Coming off a treacherous row of teams to play. I like the Skins here plus the points. Another game, Steelers at the Browns, another 3.5 game. Where I stand on this depends on who's playing quarterback for the Browns, obviously. If Baker's playing, give me the Browns.
A divisional matchup. I hate point spreads in these type matchups.
I hear you.
Especially not knowing who's going to take the field for the Browns. I mean, you talk about quarterback. Nick Chubb is still questionable. Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry. I just can't see them getting back to full strength in this game. Even if Baker plays, we know there are still outstanding issues with that left shoulder.
Non-throwing shoulder though, so.
But I do believe, and look, you've been through that injury. Maybe you can speak more to it, but But you can't tell me as a football player that, I don't care if it's throwing or non-throwing.
I hear you.
A shoulder injury is going to affect how you play, whether it be ball security or just how you move in the pocket.
Yeah, knowing you have an injury, knowing like, all right, I can't, I'm not going to roll out and run, or I hear you on that. The Steelers on the other side, the Steelers, they struggle to score points. And look, Case Keenum can sling it. I know he can. He used to play for my Washington team. Look, I like the Browns here. I think the Steelers just can't score enough points. I think it goes back to what I said during the college segment. I mean, they're not going to be able to score enough points, I don't think, to beat the Browns.
Look, I'm going to give a little shout out to Dearness Johnson with a breakout game last week, and likely the reason for the Browns win last week against the Broncos. Look, we have a regressing Ben Roethlisberger. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
A big division matchup here. Look, give me the Steelers plus the points in a division matchup. I may be wrong. But I like Big Ben and the experience here in a big conference road game.
I got you. And one more thing, why I'm taking the Browns. Browns are 4-3, 4-3 against the spread. If they win, they cover the spread, and I like the Browns to win here.
There you go.
Next up, Titans, Colts. It's a tough game. Colts -1 is interesting to me, with the Titans coming off 2 big wins. An emphatic win against the Chiefs, and then 2 back. I mean, they just handled the Bills. So, I like the Titans here.
But I understand why this game is closer than it may appear. Look, the Colts are playing as good now as they have all season.
With T.Y. Hilton back, I mean,
absolutely.
that adds a lot, by the way.
When the Titans throttled the Colts in week 3, Carson Wentz was limited with sprained ankles.
Yeah, that's plural. He had 2. He sprained both ankles.
And Jonathan Taylor had yet to kind of hit his stride. Since that game, he's rushed for 5 touchdowns, averaging just over 100 yards per game. I understand why this game is closer than most would expect it to be. With the odds makers. But until somebody proves to me that they can stop Derrick Henry, I'm taking the Titans. If you're going to give me a point, I'll take it.
I hear you. I just can't. I can't trust Carson Wentz with 0 ankles, 1 ankle, 2 ankles. I can't trust the guy. I mean, I've seen him play in the NFC East before. Don't trust him there. Don't trust him here. I like the Titans. Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill. They've been on a little roll here. I'm taking the Titans.
One final note: Julio Jones questionable for this game. I do believe he played last week. Look, perhaps one fewer weapon for Ryan Tannehill. Kind of the only minor note to this game.
The big weapon, that big boy behind him, that he's gonna hand it off to.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry. Right. I like that guy, man. All right, Patriots, Chargers. Chargers -5.5. Patriots going west.
I take 0. Absolutely nothing from the Patriots' performance last week against the Jets. The
Jets are the Jets.
I'll say it for the second time this show. They are who we thought they were,
and they're still the Jets.
That is exactly
they're still
right.
the Jets.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything to be learned about the Patriots.
Don't take anything with this shirt. This is not Jets colors. All right, percent.
Look, the Chargers are 4th best in the league at pressuring quarterbacks on 33% of dropbacks. They're 5th against the pass this year. Let's see what Matt Jones can do against a quality NFL defense. Give me the Chargers, and I'll take the 5.5.
Yeah, I think the Chargers coming off the bye week. That's always huge. They had a week of rest. Patriots hadn't had that yet. Chargers got throttled by the Ravens the week before the bye week. Give them the bye week to rest. Get that one out of the system. Bring me the Chargers back -5.5 at home. I like it here. With a rookie quarterback, Matt Jones, I like it.
Chargers will be fine.
Next up, who we got? Bucks Saints?
We got
Bucks Saints. Bucks -5.5 at the Saints. Divisional game here. I mean, Tom Brady.
You're looking at me. I'm looking at them.
Tom Brady versus Jameis Winston.
Look,
you know where I'm going.
Jameis Winston is not a good quarterback.
Well, we knew that.
I mean, you watch the game Monday night. Look, the dude is completing 60% of his passes. Okay, how he ever threw for 30 touchdowns is beyond me. And look, I may get roasted for this, but
I can tell you how he threw 30 or more touchdowns. I mean, he had Mike Evans out there, man. That dude's a dude, and he still plays for the Bucks, by the way, with Tom Brady.
But
he had 3 last week.
Here with the Saints, Sean Payton in that scheme has protected him.
Protected is a good word there.
He's not going to have that luxury when they've got to make up 10, 14 points in this game. Look, the only thing against the Bucs here is they have not been nearly as dominant on the road. You had the loss in LA, the 2-point win at New England, and a 6-point win at Philly.
There's a lot to read in there, though. I mean, the Rams are really good at the Rams. That's a really good team. The Brady playing with the Patriots, for the first time. I mean, you can read into these things.
Game.
You know what I mean? You can read into these games. 100%. I get it. So
yeah, that would be. That's kind of my only knock on the Bucs here in this game. I don't think Jameis and the Saints offense has what it takes to beat the Bucs. I hate the 5.5 here in a division game. I'll take Bucs money line all day. That 5.5 scares me in an NFL game like this.
I understand. I get you. The Bucs scored 33 points a game. The Saints scored 23 a game. Like, I'm not good at math or anything, but that's 10. That's 10. And you give me 5.5. I'm taking the Bucs 5.5. Look, they're not going to score enough points to beat the Bucs. So give me the 5.5 all day. Here's an interesting one coming up. Cowboys Vikings. This line has flipped. It was Cowboys -2 at the Vikings. Now it's Vikings at home -2.
That's right. And look, the reason being is news of Dak Prescott being limited in practice. If you ask my opinion of it, I believe the Cowboys are treating this similar to the way they treated Dak's shoulder injury in the preseason. Look, I hate to put it like this because it's going to come off the wrong way, but Dak doesn't need to practice. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is he doesn't need the first team reps. He's played with these guys for several years now. Like, he and his guys know the offense. That's all I wanted to say about this.
There you go, Forrest Gump.
Well, but one thing that bothers me about the Cowboys, it's not Dak Prescott, okay? It's their red zone efficiency and the difference in that at home versus road games. They're 10th in the league at home. 69% of their red zone possessions go for touchdowns. On the road, they are 30th at 42%. Okay, on the road, red zone possessions turn into field goals and turnovers. Okay, that's what happened 2 weeks ago in New England, and gave New England a chance to win that ball game.
Oh yeah.
The Cowboys, they've got to convert. They got to be better at converting in the red zone on the road, and they can't have penalties like they had last week. I believe they had close to 120 yards in penalty yards last week. That being said, before we came on, I had Cowboys minus 2.5. I was taking them there. Give me 2 points. I'm still taking them.
I hear you. I think the Cowboys are the better team. Again, I don't trust Kirk Cousins. Again, the Vikings struggle to score points. The Cowboys don't. They don't struggle to score points. I mean, they score points in bunches. Yeah, I like the Cowboys here. I mean, as long as Dak's playing, I think
absolutely.
I mean,
if
that has
Dak
to be
doesn't play.
Yeah,
that changes the whole dynamic.
And the Cowboys are 6-0 against the spread this year. So, I mean, they could lose by 1 and we'll still cover the spread here. So, I mean, look, it's the Cowboys here. I don't trust Kirk Cousins or the Vikings.
This is a primetime game, whether you kind of believe that or not.
Good point. Because he does not play well in primetime. And his record speaks to it, by the way.
That it does. This is not a Monday night game, but his Monday night record is atrocious.
Has he won one yet?
I believe so.
I got to go back and look.
But in my opinion, one win doesn't.
No. There's a lot of losses on the other side. All right. Let's bring up the ticket. Here we go. This is our plays for the NFL. I'm taking Washington plus the 3.5, Browns minus 3.5, Titans plus 1. Chargers minus 5.5, Bucks minus 5.5. Give me the Cowboys plus 2. Even though I'm not a Cowboys fan, I will take them plus 2 here.
Look, two big differences right there at the top. And I will tell you, I mean, I don't give you those with the most extreme of confidence. Those are the two big those are the two big differences in the ticket here. The 5.5 for the Bucks, like I said, scares me a little bit. I'll take them money line. They win outright. And you see the rest of my progression.
Yeah, I do have to say though, the Browns minus 3.5 is dependent on Baker Mayfield playing quarterback, and the Cowboys plus the 2 is dependent on if Dak plays quarterback.
I got you.
I mean, I have to. Full disclosure there. I'm not playing those games if those guys ain't playing quarterback for me. All right, let's get into something else. World Series, Braves, Astros. Series 1-1. Braves did take one on the road at the Astros. Game 1.
Braves out to a hot start. Jorge Soler. That was the first leadoff homer and the first at bat ever in the World Series, which was mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, you'd think somebody had done that before.
You would absolutely think so. But the Charlie Morton injury in Game 1 is detrimental to the Braves in more ways than one. Not only will he not be able to start what would have been a scheduled Game 5, but you're also now you have kind of Game 4 and Game 5, which line up as bullpen games. The Braves were able to substitute Charlie Morton in that lineup, but with an inexperienced arm, with not a lot of major league innings. The Braves need to take 2 of 3 in Atlanta behind Ian Anderson, who will start Game 3.
I agree.
And the bullpen, which has been spectacular for the most part this postseason. It's really going to be interesting to see what Brian Snitker does in Game 5. I think in Game 4 they'll go with not Kyle Tucker. Anyway, there's a former starter who was placed on the World Series roster to begin the series. I believe he'll take the bump in Game 4 with the bullpen behind him. Game 5 is we'll see what Snicker's got up his sleeve. If the Braves can't win 2 in Atlanta, it's over.
Well, you still got to have the bats, even if you got the pitching. So you got Albies and Freddie Freeman and Jock Peterson. Hey, somebody's got to make big plays and big time moments. And hey, I'm rooting for you, kid.
Look, we've seen both offenses kind of go off in game 1 and 2. It's funny. Both kind of 1 through 6 are built very similar. And look, if you're a starting pitcher, those kind of 1 through 5 and 1 through 6 positions in either of those lineups, any of those guys can beat you and can go deep in any given at bat on any pitch. It'll be fun to see as the series goes back to Atlanta. Can the Braves carry some momentum off the road in Houston? But again, they got to win a couple.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, next topic. This ain't me. This is all you. NASCAR playoffs. I have no clue.
Hey,
so go ahead.
We're getting down
real quick.
We're getting down to the good season. 2 races left in the NASCAR schedule. We're down to 8 drivers.
Does it still end in Miami, by the way?
No, sir. It ends next week in Phoenix, Arizona.
Gotcha. That is not Miami.
There are 8 drivers still eligible for the championship after this week. 4 will move on to Phoenix with a chance to win a NASCAR championship. The only driver locked in is Kyle Larson by winning the first 2 races. The first 2 races of this playoff stage. You've got Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott with fairly good points cushions.
Hamlin, my boy.
Going into this race at Martinsville. Other than that, you've got 4 drivers within 6 points of that 4th playoff spot. Of course, a win automatically moves you into that championship 4. You're at Martinsville. Little half-mile paperclip, Southwest Virginia. A lot of beating and banging. Track position is key. Who's going to make the big mistake that runs them out of the playoffs? That's been more of the story than drivers driving them into championship contention this year. Sunday afternoon in Martinsville is going to be fun to watch.
Gotcha.
I'll let you know next week who gets there.
All right.
Look, we got Larson, Hamlin, Elliott get there. In my opinion, Kyle Busch, who has been probably the most consistent of those other drivers throughout the playoffs. Very aggressive driver. I think he keeps the mistakes at a minimum, maintains that track position, and earns enough points to get his way in.
Gotcha. Well, that'll do it for us this week on Giving Them the Business. Great show.
What show, man?
We'll be back next week. We'll talk some college football, some NFL, probably some NASCAR, I guess.
Championship weekend, man, and a World Series recap to go with it.
Absolutely, and don't forget, man, right around the corner, college basketball. So we've
right.
got some hoops going on. Now, we'll talk about it all. But don't forget, like, subscribe, and we'll be back with you next week.